Hi, I'm William. I'm 36, the quiet one, the family spreadsheet. And last week, my wedding photos broke the internet, or at least the internet inside my family's phones, because when I said, "That's fine," to Mom's voice, cold and crisp through the phone, "Your sister's baby shower is the family's priority. We can't come to your wedding," I meant it. What she didn't know was that the ocean behind me during our vows was real, that the sunset wasn't a filter, that I wasn't in a rented gazebo. I was standing on the wraparound lanai of my own $2 million villa in Maui, and the silence on their end now. That was the sound of finally realizing I don't live in their budget spreadsheets anymore. Asterisk, the worst part wasn't the words. It was how casually she said them, like she was declining a lunch invite, not skipping her oldest son's wedding. "We can't come, William. It's the baby shower. You understand?" I didn't reply right away. Just sat in my office, staring at the color-coded expense report for a commercial real estate client while Mom's words played again in my head like some kind of cruel voice memo. It wasn't just the date conflict. It was the tone. Calm, final, like she'd made a corporate decision. This is important for Hannah, right? Because my wedding was, what? A brunch? Got it, I said. That's all I said. I didn't tell her about the hand-stitched invitations, or the way Mara had written reserved for family on the seating chart with such hope in her voice, or how I'd picked the date a year in advance to avoid holidays. I didn't say how I'd offered to pay for my parents' flights if money was an issue. I didn't say how I'd reduced the guest list from 120 to 30 just to keep it intimate. I didn't say any of it. I just turned off the phone and turned back to my screen. My assistant poked her head in. "Everything good?" she asked. I nodded. "Family." She gave me a sympathetic look. "We didn't need to explain. Here's the thing no one gets when they hear the word banker. They picture rich, smooth, ruthless. Me, I read loan agreements on weekends. I once spent 2 hours color-coding our family group budget for fun. I clip coupons and track my macros. I'm the guy who lends you $300 and sends a polite reminder in Excel, which is exactly why my family thinks I'm made of money. Or at least made of yeses. Growing up, Dad called me reliable, as in, don't worry, William will handle it. Mom called me responsible, which usually meant you're not fun, but you get things done. Jake called me bank of bro, and Hannah, well, Hannah just called when her rent was due. That's how it started. Small, subtle, 100-year, a flight there. Jake wanted to launch an e-commerce business that sold imported coffee and dog toys. I gave him a loan. He spent it on branding and forgot to buy inventory. Hannah wanted to finish college. I co-signed the loan. She changed majors 3 times and still graduated with a job at a boutique that paid in vibes and experience. And every time I hesitated, "William, you're blessed," Mom would say. "Not everyone has what you have. It's your duty to help." What I had, a studio apartment with a folding desk and a car that squeaked in the rain. What I had was a borderline obsessive work ethic and a Rolodex of low interest rates and early rising habits. What I had was discipline. What they had was expectation. When Mara and I got engaged, I didn't ask for help. I knew better. We booked a small ceremony. Sunset, simple. I mailed real invitations with wax seals because I wanted it to feel special. I picked a date that worked for everyone. I asked for one thing: no drama, no money talk. Just show up. They couldn't even do that. And yet, they still had the nerve to send me invoices. Not for their flights. For the baby shower. Hannah sent a list titled, "Since you can't bring a casserole?" with prices. A balloon arch, $475. Catered lunch, $680. Photo booth, $250. Custom cookies with the baby's name. Priceless, but actually $195. Mom followed up with a voice note. "You make 6 figures, William. It's nothing to you. Think of the optics." A banker who won't support his own sister's baby. That word again. Optics. I almost laughed, but it wasn't funny because the week before the wedding, my credit card flagged a fraud alert. Someone tried to add an authorized user. It was Kyle, Hannah's husband, the guy who thinks crypto is a personality. The bank caught it, reversed it, asked if I knew the phone number on the application. I did. I called. Relax, Hannah said. It didn't even go through. You tried to add Kyle to my card. We're family, William. You wouldn't even be where you are without us. That line. The family myth. That my success was somehow communal. That my discipline was forged in the fires of their mediocrity. That I owed them interest for life. I didn't fight. I didn't explain. I just said, I'll see you at the wedding if you change your minds. And she said, the baby shower photo booth is going to be insane. She hung up. I didn't. I sat in the silence. Mara came in, touched my shoulder, and asked, what do you want to do? Nothing, I said. Not with them. She nodded. What about us? She asked. I smiled. Everything. And that's when I knew. They thought I'd beg. They thought I'd plead. They had no idea because they didn't know where the wedding really was. They didn't know anything, but they would very, very soon. Here's what no one in my family knew because I never told them. 5 years ago, after a monster promotion and a bonus that felt borderline criminal, I did something no one expected. I bought a piece of oceanfront property in Maui. Not a timeshare, not a condo, a villa. 2 bedrooms, wraparound lanai, Pacific views that looked photoshopped even in real life. It had hardwood floors that clicked just right under your feet and salt air that hugged your lungs like a secret. I didn't tell my family, not because I was hiding, but because the second I said the words Maui or villa, I knew what would follow. Can we stay there for a week? Do you have friends who could use it? Can you cover the flights if we pay you back later? We'll keep it clean. Promise. It would have become community property in 5 minutes flat. Like every other resource I'd ever earned. So I kept it quiet. Mara knew. My best friend Elise knew. She's the one who helped pick out the surfboard art that hangs over the kitchen island. But my family, as far as they knew, I lived in a 1-bedroom and splurged on name brand cereal. So when Mom told me the baby shower was the family priority, I didn't argue. I didn't reveal that our wedding would happen in front of a sunset so vibrant it made strangers weep. I just mailed the invitations, real ones, in envelopes, with stamps. Inside were the details, the date, the time, and a private link to our SVP, the location, Maui. They never opened them. I know this because I saw Hannah's baby shower registry get updated 3 days after they arrived. She added a deluxe stroller and matching diaper bag. No RSVP. No questions. Just silence. 2 weeks later, in the group chat, she posted a pastel mood board and said, sunshine themed. Everyone bring a book instead of a card. Dad replied with confetti. Mom sent yellow hearts. No one said a word about the wedding. I watched their bubbles blink, then disappear, and I let them. We landed in Maui on a Thursday. Our friends met us at the villa, arms full of flowers and joy. Mara's parents arrived next. Her mom cried when she saw the ocean from the kitchen. Her dad hugged me and said, "You did good, son." That meant more than I can explain. I grilled fresh mahi in an apron that said, "Banker by day, chef by sunset." We rehearsed with laughter and sandals and wine so cold it sang. Mara's best friend braided her hair. My friend Gabe played ukulele. We didn't say family once. Saturday, I woke up to one text from Hannah, a selfie in front of a balloon arch, yellow and white. She'd captioned it, "Wish you were here to see it." Right. At 5:47 p.m., Mara walked barefoot down the steps of the lanai in a simple white dress, sunlight catching in her curls like magic. I forgot how to breathe. We said our vows with sand under our feet, wind in our hair, and 20 people who actually wanted to be there. No strings. No invoices. No guilt. The ocean clapped. Elise, my friend and the closest thing we had to a wedding photographer, took pictures like it was a Vogue shoot. Mara laughing on the steps. Me carrying her through the villa doorway. The sky painted in impossible shades of gold and lavender. We posted 3 photos that night. No captions. No tags. Just us. By dessert, the group chat started blinking. At first, I ignored it. Then Elise tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're gonna want to see this." She held up her phone. It was Hannah's Instagram story. A screen recording of our photos. Zoomed in on the waves. She typed, "Where is this?" 10 question marks. 1 meltdown. Mom commented under a cousin's repost, "Is this a resort? Why didn't he tell us?" Dad texted, "Call me now." IDIDN single quotes T. Instead, I put my phone in a drawer, grabbed Mara's hand, and we slow danced barefoot on the tile. The night was warm. The ocean was humming. The rest of the world didn't exist. At midnight, curiosity got the better of me. I checked my phone. 101 missed calls. From Mom, Dad, Hannah, Jake, even Aunt Gloria, who hadn't spoken to me since I refused to fund her MLM candle business. The voicemails stacked like overdue bills. Unbelievable. How could you? Your grandmother would be heartbroken. Are we invited to the after party? This is cruel. Why are you hiding money? Who paid for this? You always think you're better than us. You made your mother cry. Mara sat beside me, sipping a local pineapple juice, calm as ever. "What do you want to do?" she asked. I smiled. "Brush our teeth." She laughed. "Banker move." We went to bed with the doors open to the sea breeze. In the morning, I listened to 1 voicemail. Just one, Mom's voice. Tight, controlled, furious. "William, you embarrassed us. People are asking where you got the money for this. You can't flaunt wealth and exclude your family. Call me back immediately so we can explain you were impulsive and didn't think it through." That made me laugh. Impulsive. Me. Then Dad, we raised you better than this. Hannah is devastated. You could have done the decent thing and hosted the wedding somewhere normal. You put your sister in a terrible position. Then Hannah, so you've been playing rich while we struggle. Wow. I hope your ocean keeps you warm when you don't have a family. That one stung a little, but only a little. I typed 1 message to the group chat. I sent invitations with all the details 6 months ago. You chose not to come. You also tried to access my accounts without permission. That ends now. Please don't contact me again until you can apologize without excuses. The read receipts fluttered in like birds, and then the deem is started. Cousins, family friends, aunts, dude, this is epic. Proud of you. Don't let them spin it. Also that water. One of Hannah's old college roommates, someone I barely knew, sent a screenshot of Mom's private deem is complaining I'd blindsided them. I didn't respond to any of it. I just held Mara's hand, watched the waves, and said, "We're really married." She smiled. No family table. No fake toasts. No spreadsheets. Just us. Double quotes exactly. Asterisk. The group chat didn't stop. It just evolved from missed calls to guilt trips to what I can only describe as emotional fishing attempts. Dad texted, "We're coming. What's the address?" No question mark. No apology. Just entitlement in bold font. Mara saw the message first. She held up her phone and asked the question I was too tired to speak out loud. "Do you want them here?" I pictured it, my family showing up unannounced, poking around the lanai with wide eyes, asking questions that pretended not to be about money. How much did this cost? Is this a rental or do you actually own it? Do you have room for 8 next summer? I pictured Hannah staging a do-over baby shower with the ocean behind her. I pictured Mom posing for photos like she'd planned the whole thing. No, absolutely not. I replied to Dad, "We're on our honeymoon. Please respect that." He sent back a thumbs down. Mom followed with, "Unreal. That day was perfect. Quiet. We swam in warm water, napped in sunlit sheets, grilled fresh pineapple, and watched the stars like we were the only people alive back home. Things began to unravel the next week. Dad texted again. Less pride this time. More subtle panic. We need to talk about some bills. Things are tight. I sent him the number of a credit counselor. He replied, "So, you're abandoning your family." No, I was abandoning the role they assigned me without consent. ATM with a pulse. 2 days later, a cousin reached out quietly, cautiously to say the baby shower had gone sideways. Apparently, someone reposted a photo of our wedding, tagged the location, and Hannah finally realized she'd skipped a beachfront villa in Maui for a party with lemon cupcakes and vinyl banners. She freaked, accused Mom of hiding it. Mom blamed me. Dad blamed Mara. Kyle Googled how to tell if a house is a timeshare. The baby shower ended with a shouting match over a pinata filled with yellow M&Ms and me. I was at a beachside cafe drinking a latte that tasted like coconut and second chances. Later that night, Mara and I strolled barefoot through town. We didn't talk about the drama. We talked about board games, about adopting a dog, about maybe opening a small financial literacy nonprofit for teenagers one day. Do you regret any of it? She asked as we walked past a row of surfboards like colorful dominoes. No, I said, not one bit. And I meant it, because the peace I felt. It wasn't performative. It wasn't, look what I built, I win. It was quiet, rooted, real. The old version of me, the version that would have apologized, would have rushed to fix it, would have mailed out emergency plane tickets and a bulleted itinerary. That guy was gone. In his place was someone who finally understood the difference between love and obligation. Someone who realized that being born into a family doesn't mean you owe them interest on every success, but that didn't mean they were done trying. A week after we got home, I sat at our kitchen table writing letters. Not texts, not emails. Real letters? To Mom, to Dad, to Jake, to Hannah. They weren't dramatic. No threats. No emotional monologues. Just boundaries. I wrote that I loved them. That love isn't a credit limit. That I wouldn't be covering any more bills, deposits, emergencies, or just this once requests. I wrote that any further attempts to access my accounts would be handled legally, not emotionally. I wrote that I was open to a relationship if it was built on respect, not transactions. And I wrote that apologies must say I was wrong, not I was wrong, but I signed them. I mailed them. And then I turned my phone back on. The first call I answered was from Aunt Rosa. She said, "I saw the photos." I cried, not because of the view, because you finally looked like your life fit you. Then Mara's dad called. "Proud of you, son," he said. And that landed in a part of me my own father never reached. But not everyone was touched. Hannah posted a story, a meme that read, "Money changes people." I didn't reply. Jake, surprisingly, texted, "You good?" I wrote back, "Yeah, you." He answered, "Working on it." That meant more than anything he's ever asked from me. Maybe one person will step out of the family machine. Maybe not. Either way, I'm not budgeting for it. We're going back to Maui next summer, with friends. Not to prove anything. Just because we like the sound of the waves and the smell of quiet mornings. We'll play board games, grill fish, talk about nothing, laugh. I won't post a single price tag. If you were expecting revenge, sorry, this wasn't about revenge. The only update worth giving is this. In every room I stand in now, office, kitchen, oceanfront, sunrise, I know exactly who I am. And more importantly, I know who I'm not. Back home. It didn't take long for the narrative to start mutating. Mom began telling people I'd blindsided them, that they would have come to the wedding, but they hadn't known it was so important. She told one aunt that Mara had whisked me away like I was a kidnapped groom and not a fully grown man with a mortgage and a certified financial planner. Meanwhile, Hannah had entered her soft vengeance era. She posted another pastel quote to Instagram. Real family shows up even when it's hard, with a picture of her holding her belly like it owed her reparations. Every comment was, "You're so strong. Baby Sunshine deserves the best." Not one mention of the fact that her brother got married that same week. Jake, to his credit, had gone quiet. No requests, no guilt trips, just the occasional text that didn't ask for anything. Progress. Then Dad texted again. "We're ready to talk. If you're done being stubborn." I stared at that one a long time. That word, stubborn, as if the problem wasn't fraud, or entitlement, or emotional manipulation, just my pesky personality. I didn't reply right away. I waited until Mara got home, red pen still tucked behind her ear, grading quizzes like she always did with this gentle hum in her throat. She saw the message and said, "You don't have to answer that." "I know," I said, "but I did. Just not the way he expected." I typed, "I'm ready to talk when you're ready to listen." Then I put the phone down. No emojis. No paragraph. Just the terms. That weekend, we had friends over. Elise made empanadas. Gabe brought his ukulele again. We ended up playing board games on the floor, tipsy on ginger beer and whatever Mara found at the farmer's market. No one asked for money. No one called me dramatic. No one handed me a bill disguised as a family favor. It was heaven. And then Monday came. At 9:03 a.m., Mom called. I let it ring. At 9:04, she texted, "We need to meet in person. This has gone too far." I asked, "Will there be yelling?" She replied, "That depends on you." So that was a no. She didn't want a conversation. She wanted a surrender. Instead, I mailed them a second letter. Shorter, simpler. "I'm not attending any more family events until you acknowledge what happened. That includes the wedding, the fraud attempt, and the emotional abuse disguised as help. I'm not angry. I'm just done playing the role you wrote for me. I'm open to rebuilding something new, but not until you stop pretending this is about me being difficult." 3 days of silence followed. Then I got a group text. "Mom, we're hosting a family dinner Sunday. Please come. Let's clear the air." Dad liked it. Hannah replied, "If you come, don't make it awkward. This is about moving forward." Translation: Come apologize for making us uncomfortable by finally having boundaries. Still, a small part of me wanted to go, to try to fix it one more time, but Mara said something that stopped me cold. "William," she said, stirring her tea, "if someone pushed you into the ocean, would you swim back just because they called it a pool party?" I laughed. Then I didn't, because damn. So instead of Sunday dinner, we drove out to a lake an hour north. No signal, just trees. We brought books, a blanket, and 2 kinds of cheese we couldn't pronounce. That night, under the stars, I realized something. This piece. It wasn't borrowed. It was earned, and I wasn't giving it back. The next morning, I got a voicemail from Mom. Her voice was tight, measured, almost rehearsed. "William, you're being unfair. Your father is hurt. Hannah's pregnancy is taking a toll. You could at least check in. We're your family." I hit delete. Then I blocked the group chat temporarily, just to breathe. I thought it would feel like abandonment. It didn't. It felt like finishing a marathon. I didn't. No, I was running. I threw myself into work. Not as escape, just as me. I closed 3 deals, helped a small bakery restructure their debt, gave a lecture at a local business school about ethics in lending. One student raised his hand and asked, "What's the biggest lesson you've learned from banking?" I said, "Protect your principal." He looked confused. I smiled. "You'll get it later." Later that week, I got an unexpected call from Jake. I debated answering, but something told me to pick up. "Hey," he said, voice scratchy. "So, I've been thinking, dangerous," I said. He chuckled. "Nah, I mean it. I'm broke. Like, actual broke. But I'm trying to figure it out." He paused. I know I've been a leech. You don't have to say it. But I saw the photos. And I saw how happy you looked. And I realized maybe you're onto something. That hit me like a freight train. I didn't cry, but I felt something shift. I'm proud of you. I said. Jake coughed awkwardly. Yeah, well, don't get soft on me. I offered to send him some budgeting tools. A few book recommendations. No money. Just tools. He accepted. That was the first real connection I'd had with him in years, and for the first time. It didn't come with a price tag. 3 weeks after our return from Maui, something strange happened. The silence finally stuck. No more voicemails. No more guilt notes wrapped in emojis. No "you've changed" texts from Anna. Nothing. It was quiet, and not the ominous kind, the good kind. The kind where the absence of noise feels like an actual gift. For the first time since I was old enough to hold a paycheck, I didn't feel responsible for anyone else's bad planning. I filled that space fast. Mara and I started planning a summer retreat for teens aging out of foster care. Basic finance, job readiness, emotional support. No lectures, just tools. It wasn't charity. It was what I wished someone had handed me at 18 instead of a family bill I never asked for. One evening, while sorting through mail, I found a thin, hand-addressed envelope. Inside, a card. No glitter. No branding. Just the words, "We're ready to try again. Love, Mom." That was it. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just a promise so vague it might as well have been fortune cookie filler. Still, it stayed on the counter for a week. I'd glance at it while brushing my teeth, while pouring coffee, while calculating mortgage returns. I didn't feel anger anymore. Just distance. Then Jake called again. This time, he had news. "I got a job," he said, almost whispering. "Real one? Entry level. But it's mine. You proud of yourself?" I asked. "Trying to be," he said. "It's weird not calling you for a bailout." Good weird. Like broccoli with seasoning. I laughed. "You're growing up. Don't jinx it," he said. That call felt like closure. Not the dramatic kind. The quiet, sturdy kind that builds a bridge slowly instead of dropping a drawbridge all at once. A few days later, I got lunch with my friend Elise, the photographer who took the wedding shots. She pulled out a small envelope. "What's this?" I asked. "Your wedding gift." Late, obviously, but worth the wait. Inside was a framed photo, one I hadn't seen. It was Mara and me, barefoot, facing the ocean, hand in hand, backs to the camera. Just us, in silhouette, under a sky that looked like it had been painted by someone in love with color. At the bottom, she'd written, "You built your own table. Now you get to choose who eats at it." That frame went on my desk, right next to my award for outstanding community lender and a tiny ceramic whale Mara found at a thrift store and said looked like it held boundaries well. Around that time, a third letter came from my parents. This one from Dad. Typed, business-like, like a resignation letter dressed in family guilt. "We're willing to move past everything if you are. Let's just get back to normal." I stared at the phrase "get back to normal." Because here's the thing they didn't get. Normal wasn't good. Normal was me paying for their mistakes, covering for their choices, and smiling through every emotional overdraft. Normal was pretending that fraud was just family handling things internally. Normal was handing over parts of myself like I had a never-ending supply. I didn't want normal. I wanted peace. So I wrote back. A real letter. Plain. Calm. Specific. I'm not interested in going back to anything. I'm building something new based on respect, not role-playing. If you can be part of that, great. If not, I wish you well. But the Bank of William has permanently closed its family branch. No late fees. No collections. Just final closure. Love, your son. I mailed it. And then I let it go. No follow-up. No checks for reaction. Just release. That summer, Mara and I returned to the villa. No big event. Just us, a few friends, some grilled fish, and a sunrise that didn't care who showed up for it. We didn't tag the location. We didn't post stories. We didn't perform our joy. We just lived in it. We stayed up late debating if Monopoly should be banned. We sang badly to old playlists. We sat in silence and let the world spin without us. And when I lay in bed, salt still in my hair, I didn't worry about what Mom thought, or if Hannah had paid her credit card, or if Dad was telling people I was cold now, because I wasn't cold. I was clear. I wasn't cruel. I was healthy. I wasn't ungrateful. I was finally free. One night, as Mara graded papers on the lanai, I poured us tea. "You good?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "You?" She smiled. "Really good. We didn't toast. We didn't clink glasses. We just drank." The tea. And existed. No performance. No price tag. No rescue missions dressed as Sunday dinners. Just this peace, held quietly, and the unshakable truth I live by now. Protect your principle. Everything gets interest only if there's anything left, and only if they've earned it. I used to think I was the bad son for saying no. Now I know. I'm just a man who finally stopped lending himself to people who never planned to pay him back. That's not betrayal. That's balance.